is the former IBF and USB Super Featherweight Champion of the World, star of Season 2 hit television show The Contender. Mr. Steve Two Pound Forbes is on the line. How are you today, sir?
I am doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I am doing pretty good. We are blessed to have you. So, how has life been treating you since post retirement from the sport of boxing?
Well, not too bad. Actually, I'm feeling good, not getting punched on. But no, it's been pretty good.
Wow, that is great. So, we hear that you're starting a personalized training gym back in your hometown of Portland. Am I correct?
Yes, I am.
Wow. So would you please give us the specific details on what you are building for the community as it pertains to the new gym and what it is you're trying to do for those who are in the boxing and MMA training world?
Okay, so right now I am looking for a facility, but I am training people. A lot of the MMA guys at a place called Gracie Barra Jiu Jitsu. It's an MMA fighters and people that just looking to get in condition and learn jiu-jitsu. So I am doing the boxing, doing boxing classes, and then I got some clients where I go to their house.
Oh wow.
And it's been great because it's been summer. It's rare that stuff like that doesn't happen, to where you get people to come to your house. And so I'm actually kind of looking around for the right location for a facility. But no, it's great.
Wow, that is good. So you've trained, I've heard from guys in the MMA world like Chael Sonnen and others in the MMA world. How is it a difference as far as how a MMA fighter may train on the boxing side for what it is that what a boxer would train for, as far as, or is it all pretty much the same?
Well, a lot of things is similar. I think you got to be careful with, like in boxing, we can kind of duck a little lower. We can kind of, we can kind of bend over at the waist a bit sometime. In MMA, you can't, because you got to worry about knees, and there's knees, there's elbows, there's kicks. So you kind of got to tweak it just a bit. But I mean, overall, it's kind of the same type of principles as far as movement and being smart, as far as tactical skill level. But yeah, you got to kind of tweak it, modify it a bit, because you can't make as big a move. Being that you're MMA, you got punches. I mean, you got kicks and elbows and takedowns. So you got to kind of tweak it a little bit, and that's I really think about that stuff and study it and ask questions before I show people stuff. I'll show them something, and then I'll kind of ask them, what would be a weakness by doing something like that.
Right.
And then if they see something, then I'll kind of modify it. I'll be like, well, we'll do it this way. So, but a lot of times I don't really have to say that to them, because when I go in there and do the classes, I already modified it, and they really like that. They respect that, actually.
Wow, that is awesome. So, I got to ask you this, given the fact that you do train with MMA fighters.
Yeah.
What is your take on Mayweather McGregor?
Oh, I think Mayweather just beats him up. I think it's a different, and I think too, teaching the classes and showing these guys that it's a lot of different things in boxing. I mean, there's range, there's speed, there's changes up in speed, there's rhythm. Not saying that a lot of the MMA guys don't have it, but it's different because they got too many things. They got a lot of things they got to kind of get right, as far as kicking, the distance, the punching. And so with boxing, it's strictly hands. Right. And feet, also being able to move, but being able to throw combinations, being able to stop guys from being able to block your shots or slip them. So I think it's so different, and I think McGregor is going to find out that it's way much more difficult, especially at that level, than he ever thought it would be. It's not just punching and, you got to set a guy up. Like in boxing, we know things like I know how to counter your counter. I'm already thinking steps ahead of you. I don't see that as far as with the boxing part in MMA. I just see guys kind of, clubbing each other, and I mean,
Right.
like I said, they are working with many different weapons. So boxing is just our hands and feet, which is great weapons in itself, and we try to master them. So
So
it's a little it's different, and I think Greg's gonna find that out.
when you train, I, the question is, so when you train MMA fighters and and you're seeing, or if you're standing back watching maybe a MMA fighter spar with a boxer, do you see a lot of holes like in their game as far as them trying to fight a boxer because of what it is that they usually do in MMA, and they're trying to transverse into just strictly boxing? Do it leave a lot of holes open to where
Yeah,
a boxer could
yes,
really
it does.
calculate off of a MMA fighter?
Yeah, I think so because a lot of times, and this is what I have to do with the students, which a lot of them I can see they're kind of a little bit of resistance, but they don't understand the method behind the madness. Because I say to them, they a lot of them become really square, like their shoulders. In boxing, you're taught to hide the powerful shoulder. The lead shoulder will be up front. Doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed, which is orthodox or southpaw. You want to hide that right hand. If you're a right-handed boxer, you want to hide the right hand so you can't see it release to land the shot. But a lot of MMA guys, they square up because they throw front kicks. And so I tell them, you got to hide that shoulder. And a lot of them say, well, yeah, we're going to kick too. But I'm going to say, what happens before you kick? You're still, in punching range, so you can go back and forth, maneuver your shoulders, shuffle your shoulders to exchange it, different directions. Those are the holes I see a lot. Like a lot of them get squared,
Right.
which I understand because they throw a lot of front kicks. But even so, though, I think, I'm a big Bruce Lee fan and stuff like that. He even, hit his shoulder when he would
Right.
be in a movement. He would make himself a smaller target. So I tell him, I say, guys, you can switch back. You can shuffle your shoulders back and forth. You don't have to stay so square because you can't hide any punches. I can see every punch you throw. So, yeah, I think it's a lot of holes in the game. But I do think McGregor is aware of that. I think he's a lot more technically sound than a lot of other MMA guys as far as knowing where his hands are and stuff like that. But I
Right.
do think it's a totally different thing when you're going against one of the best guys of all time. So
Absolutely. So do you believe it's good for both MMA and boxing, or just one of those combat sports in particular?
you know what? I think it's good for both. I mean, to be honest, I think it puts a big light on combat sports, big light on boxing with Mayweather fighting. I mean, and a big light on MMA. A lot of people say, it's a joke fight, but the people that are saying that are tuning in. They're watching the press conferences. They're going to watch the fight. They're curious.
Right.
And, I would say, this reminds me of, the people that are saying it's a joke fight and then this and that, which, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. This reminds me of like how James Toney, one of my favorite all-time greatest boxers ever, he went over to
Absolutely.
MMA and fought Randy Couture. And nobody bellyache about that, but being that it's Floyd Mayweather and, people are saying, oh, it's not fair, some people are actually giving McGregor a chance, so
Right,
I
and
think
that's
it's
what I've
good
been
for both.
seeing. Wow, that is good. So outside of the Mayweather McGregor, but when you personally, getting back to you, but when you look back on your whole entire career, what are some of the biggest moments that you'll always remember about your career?
There are three, maybe four really good moments or that I really remember. The first one is winning the world title. Well, actually, I'll go back too. First one is my professional debut. I fought in Reno at the Reno Sparks Convention Center on one of my favorite all-time fighters, James Toney's undercard against Montel Griffin. The rematch, and he actually lost that fight. It was a close fight though, but I'm friends with Montel and James Toney. Um, I trained with Roger Mayweather, and me and Floyd Mayweather did a lot of sparring for that fight, and that was in 1996. And then my other thing is winning the world title. I was a kid from Portland, Oregon. Nobody had won a world title from my town.
Right.
I think the only other world champion ever in the history of Oregon was a guy by the name of Denny Moyer. There was the Fighting Moyers, Denny Moyer, Phil Moyer. This is back in 1962. And so I was the only guy from that point ever to kind of really reach those heights. I mean, we had a lot of guys that, fought for the title, guys like number one contender Mike Colbert, Ray Lampkin, a guy by the name of Marcellus Allen, who was a really good prospect way back. But, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that highlight, and of course, the contender was huge.
Absolutely.
That was great for me. And of course, to top it off, Oscar De La Hoya. So those moments were really, really big. Yeah, really, really big for me.
That is really
There was a
good.
fight that there was. Oh, sorry. I was
Oh, you
gonna
go
say there
ahead.
was a fight that led up to the Oscar fight, which was me against Demetrius Hopkins, which was like really one of the worst decisions of the year. It was on HBO pay-per-view. I fought that fight, and most people thought I won at least 9 out of 12 rounds, but I didn't get the decision. But it sparked so much controversy that I eventually got another fight with another prospect from Oscar De La Hoya's team, and I beat him, and then I got to fight Oscar himself. So that kind of started the whole me versus Oscar, because I got ripped off with one of his guys that I actually beat, and the whole world saw it. So it was the nephew of Bernard Hopkins. I actually beat him, and they gave him the fight. And I talked to Bernard Hopkins like a week later on the phone, and he said he knew it too. He just said, "Hey man, you know what? That doesn't hurt you though." And then eventually leading up to the Oscar fight a year later. So
Right.
those are big moments. Big moments.
Wow, that is awesome. So my last question to you is for the young fighters and the young amateur fighters and those who, inspired to be a professional someday, whether it's in MMA or in boxing within itself. What would be your message to them before they make that transition into becoming a professional in either sport?
I would say learn as much as you can. Also, start learning about finances and stuff like that. Stay and be focused. You don't. You gotta stay in the gym. As far as always be in the gym, even at times you don't really feel like going, be there and stay focused, because time goes by super fast. And there's, you know, it's gonna be a real rush of time. So I would say stay focused, ask a lot of questions, learn from different people. You can learn something from anybody. Doesn't mean you
Right.
have to copy everything people do, but try to learn as much as you can. It'll.
Wow, that is awesome, man. Mr. Forbes, I thank you so much for your time and giving us the opportunity to interview you. And we wish you well on your new training facility. We hope you find the perfect location to get in as many fighters as possible in Portland so you could raise up a new world champion, whether it is in MMA or in the sport of boxing. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh man, thank you, Jeremy. I really appreciate it.
And hey, and I'll be definitely hearing from you soon because this will not be the last time that get an opportunity to talk to Mr. Steve 2 Pound Forbes.
Oh no, man. I hope not. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. You have a wonderful evening.